Folks, we got UFC Paris coming up. This is going to be a great card. I'm really looking forward to it. Some compelling matchups. I know that you guys are looking forward to it after a week off. We don't need any more of those. I think we were pretty good all the way through towards the end of November, I believe it is. So should be a good time getting this one next week, so on, keeping the ball rolling. But all my links are in the description. Check those out if you're interested in any of that stuff. If you don't know what's down there, check it out. There's some good stuff. Well, let's go ahead and break dodown these fights. I'll see you there. We are at lightweight here, where Bolaji Oki takes on Chris Duncan. Now, for Duncan, 4-1 in the last 5, 5-0 in the last 5. For Oki, it's a good matchup. Both guys similar records, 9-1, 11-2, pretty close in their careers there. When we look at these guys, both of them are contender series vets. Got that going in. And let's see how they match up skill for skill, because Duncan, he's shown a bit of a different skill set in the UFC than we knew him for on the regional scene, and that's good. It means he's developing, right? For Chris Duncan, he's got decent striking. He's got good power, good leg kick. He's really good in a brawl. That's where he's comfortable. But the problem is his striking defense isn't the best, and although it hasn't really cost him very much in his career because he's only lost twice, the striking defense, the hands low, just kind of getting into a brawl and doing that, sometimes that's going to result in you getting cracked, and you can only take so many before you start getting dropped and going out. So either way, I do like that he's good in a brawl, but I don't like the defense, and I think that could be a problem for him. He does have the power to do it. He's got a good leg kick, like I said, so yeah, it's good and bad, right? Wrestling. It's decent wrestling. The cage push. This is what I was talking about when I said something we see differently in the UFC. He's been willing to, at least in fights, say, okay, if I want to win this fight, the best way for me to do that is pin this guy up against the cage and hold him there. He had good control from there. We saw that in the Morales fight, I believe it was. And he was able just to win minutes that way. And that's okay. I mean, if that's what you got to do to win the fight, no big deal. Do what you can to get wins. I like that. That's a development in his game. On the other side, for Oki, haven't seen a ton from him yet because, still relatively young in the career, young in the UFC. Good striker. Typically, he's a guy that likes to go forward, and he's got good forward pressure. However, he can be backed up when met with equal pressure. He likes to be the guy dictating who's going forward, and when he's not, that is a problem for him. He doesn't respond super well to that. He's got good head movement, and he works his jab really well. He'll stick that jab and move out of the way of other strikes coming back at him. His counter striking's pretty good. So, say he's out there working the jab or whatever. He's dodging your punches. After he'll slip something off to the side and then bam, rip one right back at you. He does a good job with it. A lot of times it's that counter right, actually, rather than the lead hook like that. But whatever. Point is, good counters. He can get backed up, though, as I said, if somebody's got a lot of pressure. So that's a problem for him. His hands will get lower as the fight goes on as well. And it could be fatigue, but it also, you get kind of comfortable if you've noticed that somebody isn't landing with enough power on you to make you keep your hands up. With that, you start getting comfortable and let your hands kind of come down because it's easier, right? It's easier to hold your hands here than it is up here. It's a little harder to hold them here. It takes more, it fatigues the shoulders more, whatever. But either way, it's something that could be a problem for him as this fight goes on if he's not able to get Chris Duncan out of there with some power shots early. Does have pretty decent wrestling. I would almost lean towards good. I've had it listed as good before. I go back and forth. It's just so much his second option. He won't do this unless this is not working for him, and then he'll go to the wrestling because he has a pretty good double leg. It's solid, and he's got a pretty good takedown defense as well. We don't get to see enough of this for me to really feel like his skill set is fully developed in the wrestling, but the double leg's good, takedown defense is good. Ultimately, in this matchup, I've got to go with Oki, but I do worry that a guy like Chris Duncan could make this a brawl, and if he makes it a brawl, there's a chance that Oki gets cracked. It's a tough fight to pick, close fight, but I'm taking Oki. I understand that the line is pretty wide in the favor of Oki, so that could be a problem, but I think a lot of money might be coming in on Duncan soon. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next fight. Next up, we've got a really interesting matchup in the women's 135-pound division. There are a lot of layers to this one, right? This fight's like an onion. We're going to peel those layers back as we go. But first, let's do the introduction between the two. We have Nora Cornolle, 8-1 in the career, 5-0 in the last 5. Jacqueline Cavalcanti, 7-1 on the career, 5-0 in the last 5. Now, let's start breaking down these layers. First layer we want to break down is that it is a rematch. These ladies fought each other very early in their career. For one of them, it was their first fight, I believe. The other one, it was like the second fight in their career. Now that I'm on camera, I can't remember which one was which, but, I swear I knew just a few minutes ago, but that's how that works. When you turn the camera on, sometimes you forget stuff. Either way, with these two ladies, it is a rematch from early in their career. It was 2019, I believe, which doesn't sound like a long time ago, but That's like 5 years ago now. So that is actually longer back than like it sounds. You know what I mean? But either way, so Cavalcanti also is taking this fight on short notice. But why is she? Well, first off, she fought just a few weeks back, and now she's taking this fight on short notice. Why would she do that? Well, it's because in the first fight, Jacqueline Cavalcanti won this fight very, very clearly. It was a beatdown, right? And if you beat somebody that convincingly, and then all of a sudden, you get offered, hey, do you want to fight this person again? Short notice, but you've already got a pretty impressive win over them. Do you want to fight them on short notice? Yeah, I guess. I've already beat the brakes off this person. Why wouldn't you? So I get why she's taking the fight on short notice, but does the short notice cause her any problems? That's what these are the layers we got to decipher, right? But let's break down the nuts and bolts for Cavalcanti. And actually, first, both of these ladies are predominantly strikers, but they're going to be better at different ranges. And I think that's what is going to dictate this fight. Let's break it down, though. Good striking for Cavalcanti. Good combinations, good volume. She's good with her lateral movement, so she works very well at range. If Cavalcanti can keep this fight at distance, that's where she's going to have the most success. Her teep kicks in this are going to be one of her best friends because those are really good for keeping your opponent back, keeping them away, and then you can land your shots at distance. She got a good leg kick as well. In the grappling, good ground and pound, I guess. She doesn't really look to get it to the mat very often. If she does, the ground and pound's there for her, right? Cornolle, same idea. She's more of a Muay Thai striker, but she's going to work better in the pocket here. She's got kicks at all levels, and she has good combinations most of the time. And the clinch, though, that's where she needs to get this fight. Because at range, like I said, Cavalcanti is going to have the better volume, distance striking, things like that. In the clinch, Cornolle's got some good knees, good elbows. She works that clinch game really well. Her struggle could be the takedown defense because it's pretty bad. And her ground and pound's pretty good if she's on top. But then again, neither of these two are predominantly grapplers. For me, this fight depends on who can dictate the range. And honestly, I feel like we're going to get a little bit. It's going to be closer than the first fight, but I think Cavalcanti's still going to get it. I think she's going to be able to dictate the range. I think she's going to land volume on the outside. However, this being a fight in Paris, it is going to be something to take into account. Who knows if they're going to take Cornolle because she's the hometown girl and she's probably going to be the one pressing forward for a lot of this. I'm still going to take Cavalcanti. I don't recommend betting this fight, but that's where we're at. Let me know what you guys think. I do appreciate your feedback. So drop that in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next fight. We got flyweights next, and they always bring the excitement. Daniel Barez takes on Victor Altamirano. Really good fight. I think this is probably going to be one of the more exciting fights on the card. And a lot of times that's because flyweights just deliver, right? They typically deliver. For Altamirano, dude's 2-3 in his last 5, but he's got a lot of really close fights. You get a lot of split decisions in them losses, and that's not something you want to see typically, but what it does tell you is that he's competitive in all of these matchups. So regardless of if he's, losing these fights that are like razor thin, on any given night, you can see it going the other way. One judge already saw that. So it means he's competitive at least. You have that. For Barez, he's 4-1 in his last 5. That looks great, but he hasn't been as active as Altamirano. Altamirano fights a ton. Barez, we don't see him very often, right? So for that, where do you go with it, right? For Altamirano, let's start there. Dude's a good striker. He's got pretty good power for a flyweight. Very accurate. I like that. Combinations, puts his punches and kicks together. Those kicks are kind of weird. They come at kind of odd angles, but he does have good kicks. The volume's typically there. His striking defense is suspect, but he's extremely durable, and that's how he's making it to these split decisions, of course. You can't get there if you're not durable because you don't make it to decision whatsoever. On the grappling side, decent. We saw him be able to mix takedowns in and use that to great success in his last matchup. He ended up losing the fight, but the ability to mix in the takedowns over Felipe dos Santos was something that was able to get him a lot of control time. Whether that scores or not just depends on the night. So that's whatever. But if he is taken down, he's usually pretty quick to work back to his feet. So you like to see that as well. On the other side, for Daniel Barez, this guy starts extremely fast. That first round, Barez is winning the first round in almost any of his fights. I mean, you need to put him against somebody else that starts extremely fast to be able to keep up with Barez in the first round. The guy comes forward. He's got good, really solid striking, to be honest. That leg kick's there. The power's there. Those body shots are absolutely devastating. And if you're going to finish Altamirano, you're going to need to do it with a body shot because this dude's got a head like cement. So for me, I think those body shots are going to be a big thing for Barez. He's got good combinations, and I love that he can change levels in combination. So he'll be going up top, hit the body, and then come back to the top, whatever he needs to do. Does it really well. His striking defense is also a bit suspect, so that's a problem for him. But I think it's because he's so offensively minded, especially in that first round. Decent grappling as well. Mixes in the takedowns. He's got pretty good ground and pound, and he's active from his back when he gets there. The problem for Barez is sometimes he fades after that really good first round, and that can be a problem for him. For me, this is a tough one to call, and it was kind of like, well, who do I think's winning this fight? Well, I think if this fight gets out of the first round, Altamirano is going to start taking over. But if it ends in the first round, Barez probably got the win. You probably rip it a body shot. So I did take Altamirano here. I'm gonna take him in this one as a pick. I also bet him as an underdog, but now the line's flipped. And there's a pretty decent chance that I'm just going to bet the other side as well and guarantee me some money on both sides. I do like to get free money, and that's what we're probably going to do here. Either way, I'm going to take Victor Altamirano to win this one in a close fight that I don't think goes to decision. I think it's going to be back and forth, and I think later in the fight we're getting a finish from Altamirano. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next fight. We've got the women's bantamweights here. Ailin Perez, she's taking on Darya Zheleznyakova, and for Zheleznyakova, she's 4-1 in her last 5, 9-1 in the career. It's a nice, pretty record. She's facing the 10-2, also 4-1 in her last 5, Ailin Perez. Well-matched fight. Again, 10-2, 9-1. Those are good, similar records. 4-1 in the last 5 for both of these ladies. I like the matchmaking here. It was a good job. A striker versus grappler, kind of. I mean, both of them can do both things, but striker versus grappler, essentially. Let's break it down. Zheleznyakova, she's a good striker. I think she's going to be the better striker in this matchup, and I don't think that's crazy to say. She's got good forward pressure. The volume is there. The power is there. Her combinations and her single shots are mixed together in a way that keeps the opponent guessing. When they think there's another punch coming, they overreact, and then she'll hit them with a solo shot, or she'll put the combinations together and land some good stuff. She is a good striker. I don't like that she spins so much because that can result in her getting taken down, and we're going to cover that in a moment here because her takedown defense, it's a problem for her. That is her biggest weakness, is the takedown defense. Now, she will work to get back up. Whether that's successful or not is a different story. Kind of just depends on the opponent. But she sure tries her hardest to get back to her feet because she knows that she needs to. On top, in the grappling, she's not bad. She's got really heavy ground and pound, and she does have pretty good top pressure. However, the takedown defense isn't the best, and if you spin a ton, you can get taken down because of that. So I don't really like that for in this matchup in particular, and I'll explain that in a moment, but I do think overall she's a better striker. When we look at Ailin Perez, we're going to look at Ailin Perez here. Her striking is decent, right? It's essentially she's going to come forward with really aggressive forward pressure and just have volume coming out. The one thing I do like in her striking specifically is her step-in knees. She'll just throw those as she's coming forward and try to land them either to the body or when somebody's trying to duck down and change levels. She'll throw a knee in there. She'll also be throwing punches up high and get them to duck under a punch, and then the knee comes in. It doesn't always look super clean, but she will land, and it does do a good job. So I do like that for Miss Perez here. In the grappling department, she has a good body lock, and she's got good pressure in her grappling. Now, her top control is not as good, but the pressure is there. She's always putting, how do I put it? She's always putting that through the opponent. She's always trying to go through the opponent while she's working to advance her position. That's what I mean by pressure in this instance. She works to advance the position. She's not afraid to posture up and throw volume. That's kind of why she loses top control, because she's not afraid just to posture up and try to land damage. And that's kind of what the judges like to see anyway when you're grappling, right? Is they trying to land damage. Problem is, when you do that, you often, if you posture up to land, you have less control. It's just the way that works. So she will lose top control, but she doesn't seem to care because she'll probably get another takedown. Now, the pace. She has very good pace, and I think that breaks a lot of her opponents. She can outpace herself a little bit at times, but often the opponent is just as tired, if not more tired, so that it does work out as a positive, net. So it's net positive for Perez. I think this is a good fight. I think it's a tough fight. I think it's a close fight, and I think the line's a little wide. However, I do think Perez is going to win this more often than not. And we're making picks here. We're not making bets. So we're making picks, and I'm taking Ailin Perez because I do think the takedowns are going to be there. And I do think that she's going to do enough on the mat to make the judges say, yeah, those ground strikes are good. Or, oh, she landed 10 freaking takedowns. So I think Perez is going to be able to come forward and land those. She's going to get hit on the feet. She's going to eat some rough shots, but she's probably going to be okay. So we're taking Ailin Perez. Not the most confident pick on the card, but I do think the takedowns are there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next fight. It's a bantamweight matchup that was added to the card fairly late in the development for this one. We have Taylor Lapilus taking on Vince Morales, who's re-debuting in the UFC, making his re-debut after a 5-0 stint on the regional scene. And as you see that 5-0 in the last 5, well, that's because he got cut from the UFC, went out there and started kicking some butt. On the other side, 4-1 in the last 5 for Lapilus. That 20-4 record looks really nice on paper, and it's looked pretty good so far in the UFC as well. He's done a good job. He's got a couple of wins since being back in the UFC. He also was a guy that had to make a re-debut in the UFC at one point. So there is that. Although a re-debut, which is interesting because like he's only got 4 losses in the career. So, it is what it is, right? So it's not like he was getting, just destroyed and they had to get rid of him. Either way, Morales had a couple of rough losses, bounced back, and he's really added some wrinkles to his game. We're going to talk about those in a moment. First, let's talk about Vince Morales on this one, and then we'll go over to the Lapilus side. For Morales, good striker. And this is what he usually was doing in the UFC the first time. He was a lot more boxing-oriented striker, and that's kind of, he still has that ability, right? He works his jab well. He'll use flurries to close the distance and get in and start landing some shots from in tight in the pocket. I like that he keeps a high guard and keeps his chin tucked. He doesn't stand with his chin up like this, and he does keep those hands up. He will work the body very well. Doesn't really have a ton of power in his shots, but he's willing to get in there and land those attritional kind of stylistic knockouts. Like if he can go in there and start landing, good volume, hitting low, hitting high, and just kind of overwhelming guys, that's how you're going to get him to drop someone. Good volume, like I said, but the leg kick defense is something that's really cost him in the past. In fact, it cost him quite a bit against pretty much all the guys from Factory X, basically, whenever he fights them. But those guys are known for their leg kicks, so there is that. But still, leg kick defense, he needs to worry about checking those leg kicks a little more. That's all. So either way, the grappling. This is where he's really leveled up since being in the UFC last. And I actually got to point something out here. In his last matchup over Hunter Azure, I believe it was, he has a win. On Tapology, it says it's a Peruvian necktie. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are like grappling nerds or anything. That's not a Peruvian necktie. I was like, okay, that's a necktie. That's a Texas necktie. There's a difference. Now, I didn't know what it was called. I just knew that wasn't a Peruvian necktie. The difference is with the Peruvian, you sit to your butt, you bring your legs up over the back or whatever, and it's different. Now with the Texas necktie, which is what he did in that matchup, you take your knee to the side of the head, and it's the same setup with the hands. You can get the S grip, or you can grab the wrist, but the S grip is probably what you want to do. And then you put the knee to the side of the head and use that as your thing that holds the head down, as your pressure on the back of the head, so they can't pop that out, and then you hit them with the necktie there. I saw that and thought, wow, I didn't know that was a thing. It just occurred to me. And literally the next day at jiu-jitsu class and for open mat, I went and hit that move, and that was sick. There's a little bit of a tangent here, but it was funny because I hit that, and the guy that I hit it on was like, "What in the world did you get me with?" And it's like, "Oh man, that's a Texas necktie. I actually learned it I don't know if it was that morning or the night before while doing tape study for the upcoming UFC card." And yeah, funny story. Either way, the Texas necktie is what that is properly. It's not a Peruvian necktie. For all of you nerds out there that watch that, that is what it is. But it does say Peruvian necktie on Tapology. Whatever. Tangent over. The submission arsenal was clearly good. Let's put it that way. The front chokes are there. He likes the Darce choke. He likes, obviously, the neckties. Those things are all kind of in the same realm, right? They're all with that, opponents in the turtle position. You've got that, that upper body control, looking for that front headlock position. He loves those. Those are his best submissions. Darce, Anaconda, obviously the various necktie variations. You can technically hit a guillotine there from there. Those type of things. He loves those. That's what he does best. Decent takedown defense as well, and oftentimes he'll threaten with one of those front chokes as he sprawls, because guess where you end up? It's that front headlock position. Decent takedowns of his own, but he's very much submission over position, and rightfully so. Those subs are getting it done for him. I do think he's a better grappler out of the two here, Morales for sure. The difference that he's going to face, though, is somebody in Taylor Lapilus who has a very, very solid takedown defense. This is a guy who is mostly a pure striker, but has worked so much on his takedown defense that it is legitimately some of the best takedown defense in the division. I say some of. This is 135 pounds. Jose Aldo's in the division, and that dude's got incredible takedown defense. So some of the best. It's not the best. There are a couple better. But Taylor Lapilus has very good takedown defense. In the Basharat fight, it didn't hold up that whole fight, but at the same time, it took a lot of takedowns before he started getting taken down pretty easily. For Lapilus, his striking is solid. He has constant lateral movement, and that's what kind of makes it hard for guys to get takedowns on him, is because they have to first corral him. They have to get him to brought into the position they want him before they can get to him, and then still have to beat his takedown defense. Clean combinations. He can counter-strike extremely well. He mixes up his strikes even better in combination. So he's got elbows, knees, punches, kicks, all that. He puts it all together in combination. And when you do try to get up to him and start getting the takedown. On the clinch break, he's landing big, heavy elbows. This is a fun fight for a short notice, kind of like last minute put together fight. But honestly, I've got to go with Taylor Lapilus. I believe the takedown defense is going to hold up. I think on the feet, he's going to be better. Not that Morales can't strike on the feet. I just think he's going to have a hard time getting in the pocket and landing his shots. And I think Lapilus is going to be able to stay outside and do what he wants to do. Ultimately, Taylor Lapilus is a pick. I like the improvements made by Morales, and I think that after this fight, he's going to have winnable matchups in the UFC. This was a long breakdown. I'll see you guys in the next one. Going to fight at 155 pounds. Ludovit Klein takes on Roosevelt Roberts. For Roberts, he is 2-2 in a no contest in his last 5. Not the best 5 on end. We'll look at Klein, 4-0 and a draw in his last 5. A lot better on that one, I would say. The biggest difference here that stands out to me with the measurables is literally the measurable, the height. 5'7" for Klein, 6'2" for Roberts. That is crazy different there. I'm 5'8", and I know that if I'm looking at somebody that's 6'2", I'm looking up, right? Like a pretty, the head cranks like this, and maybe not quite like that. That's a bit extreme, but you know what I mean. Like it's sizable, right? I was actually just this morning sparring with a guy that's 6'3". I'm 5'8", so literally the same difference in height because I'm 1 inch taller. They were 1 inch taller. It makes sense. It's the height difference is a big thing because it really changes the way the striking exchanges take place. For Roberts, though, sometimes he doesn't use that height to his best advantage. Let's break this guy down, right? He's a good striker with good volume. I love the knees up the middle. The knees up the middle are something he uses great for his height. That is absolutely perfect because tall guy, knee comes up the middle, shorter guy, that face is right there to be hit. The thing I don't like is he closes distance too much. He takes away his ability to land those big rangy straights out at range, and he'll get in too close, and he'll have to throw a lot of hooking and uppercut type punches because instead of being able to land his long, rangy straights, where a tall guy like him could do, instead he over closes the distance. But the knees are there, so I do like that. So he's a good striker, I would say, but that's just the one little thing there, little issue. Good grappling as well. He likes to create scrambles, and often he'll get back to his feet or take advantage of that and look for a submission, look for a position change. His scrambling ability is pretty gosh darn good. The thing I do like best, though, is if he gets on top in his ground and pound, because he's tall and he has a long torso, can posture up and throw straight punches straight down at his opponents from the mount or from guard or whatever, and he throws clean straights down. Why is that important? Well, because a lot of guys have to angle their punches a little bit. They're off. They're not getting that long, straight, stiff shot. Why is a straight, stiff shot better? Well, it's first off, it's straight, but also it doesn't have any give to it when it's locked out straight like that, and you throw that big this down the pipe shot, and it bounces the opponent's head off the canvas. So his ground and pound, damaging, very damaging. On the other side, we have Ludovit Klein, who's a massive favorite, and probably for good reason. He's a solid striker with very well-timed counters, good power, puts together combinations extremely well, and he has absolutely nasty kicks, and he can kick you at every level. Maybe not head level for Roberts, actually. That's really high up there for him. But typically he can kick to all levels. That's just a lot. Really good counter wrestling as well. He goes right to those underhooks and just pulls them right back up, creates space. He can mix in his own takedowns, but I don't think he's really going to. I think he's going to try to keep this fight on the feet. That's what he does the most, and I think he's going to have a lot of success with it. So Ludovit Klein's a pick. I don't think anybody's wondering about that. This is a short nose matchup for Roberts, so it is what it is. But I'm picking Klein. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you in the next fight. We're in the light heavyweight division where Oumar Sy takes on Dawoon Jung. For Dawoon Jung, 2-3 in his last 5. He's on a bit of a 3-fight skid, and that's not what you want to see, but it's been against pretty decent competition. On the other side, Oumar Sy, he's 10-0, 5-0 in the last 5, but he's just now kind of getting into the UFC. Got one win. Here we go. We're going to see if he can get another one. He hasn't really had the opportunity to prove himself against higher level guys yet. This is that next step. So who's going to win? Is it going to be the vet who's been around a while, give that lesson, or is it going to be the up-and-comer? For Jung, good striker, very athletic striker. He's got good power, strikes pretty well at range, but it's definitely the athleticism that gets him by in his striking. His clinch, I like the elbows there, very good in the clinch. I think if this gets in the clinch, though, he's going to be forced to grapple, and he does have good grappling, right? He's got powerful takedowns, good top pressure, and his ground and pound's pretty darn good. But he's been inconsistent at times. Sometimes he shows up and lays an egg. Sometimes he shows up and looks pretty good. On the other side, we've got Oumar Sy. Now, or Sy. Sy or Sy. I don't know which one it is. Either way, Sy. We're going to go with Sy. For Oumar Sy is a guy that in the grappling department, I think he's going to have an advantage here because he's an extremely powerful grappler. His takedowns are extremely powerful. He's got a very good double leg. His ground and pound is good. When he gets the ground and pound going, a lot of times people will give up the rear naked choke, and he'll take that option if you give it to him. But a lot of times his ground and pound is his first option. He'll just take the choke if you give it to him. If you turn over and just, basically give him the take my neck type of thing. Decent striking, but he doesn't spend a lot of time there. It's basically just powerful striking, and he can use his length pretty well at distance. He's a big, long guy, powerful guy. But realistically, he wants to grapple, and I think that's what he's going to try to do here. Now, it's going to come down to, can Sy's grappling add up to the grappling of Jung, and can Jung keep it at range enough to kind of use his athleticism and his striking there? I don't think so. I think the takedowns are going to come for Sy. I do think he's going to get this win. I think this is a good step up in competition at the right time. I think it's a good competitive fight, and Jung definitely could get the win, but we're going to lean Oumar Sy. We've got to trust the prospect in this one. I think he's going to be able to get it done. But let me know what you guys think. And if you found this video to be helpful thus far, if you've enjoyed this, maybe you learned something, go ahead and like this video. It does help me a ton, and I will see you guys in the next fight. We got light heavyweights next, where Cutelaba takes on Ivan Erslan. And now Erslan is making his UFC debut at 3-2 in his last 5, which is a bit peculiar. However, he's fought some pretty good competition on the regional scene, and some of those guys that he was fighting against probably could beat a lot of the UFC guys at at this end of the division, right? Erslan obviously was available, for his contract to be taken away by the UFC, so they took him as opposed to the guys that were beating him. But you know what I mean? It's just what happens. He's a good fighter, probably deserves the spot. On the other side, Cutelaba 1-4 in his last 5. Now he got that win over Kenner Boser, and if you remember, it could have been an early stoppage. Boser he was getting back to his feet. He was eating some shots on the way up against the cage, and Boser wasn't happy about the stoppage. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I thought it was early. I thought it was an early stoppage. I thought Boser was fine, and if that fight continues, Boser might actually win because Cutelaba, well, we'll talk about him in a minute. But in this one, let's start on the Erslan side. Good striker. He's predominantly a boxer. Let's put it that way. He's predominantly a boxer. He's got a good stiff jab, and he keeps the guard high. That's what he just boom, boom, boom. Just keeps that guard high. Pretty good power. When he starts to unload, the jab, it's like, it's a stiff jab, but like you're not knocking guys out with a jab typically. But he does have decent counters as well. They'll land on the guard of him, and then he'll come back with something and land his shot. He does recover quickly as well. I've seen this guy get rocked, and just next thing you know, he's good to go. But I mean, we've also seen him finished, but a lot of the time we've seen him get rocked, and then he's back to doing what he does, coming forward, just landing a stiff jab, keep covering up, just doing his thing. Decent takedown defense. Like he's going to get taken down in this fight probably. I mean, unless he can just catch Cutelaba on the first entry, but he's probably going to get taken down. But he does have, it's not bad. Will work to get back to his feet. He basically wants to stay at boxing range. For Cutelaba, dude's going to wrestle you. He's going to start extremely fast. He's going to go for a bunch of takedowns right out of the gate. His top control is like, but he's going for ground and pound when he gets you down, and that's why his top control is not the best, because he's just swinging for the fences. He's trying to get you out of there. He's got very powerful striking, whether that be in the ground and pound or on the feet, and he starts extremely fast. Like I said, the dude's going to come out of the gate just like he's shot out of a cannon. But speaking of cannons, he's a bit of a glass cannon. He falls apart with his cardio as soon as he burns through that initial fuse gets out. Done. And then he just starts falling apart and can get beat up from there and taken out, which happens often. Yes, he went to decision in his last fight, but it's a rarity, right? And it kind of takes a certain dance partner to take Cutelaba to a decision. This pick for me is going to be more based on the fact that I don't trust Cutelaba can keep up enough of a pace for multiple rounds here. So I'm going to take Erslan, and I think he's going to be able to win after the first round. But I could also see him getting finished in the first round. This is kind of a show me spot. I think you guys should just watch this one. Kick your feet up on the coffee table, crack open that ice cold root beer, and enjoy the show. Because this one here for me, we need more information on the Erslan side and how it will do in the UFC. And you can't trust Cutelaba as far as you can throw him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next fight. Lightweights next. First, Ziam takes on Matt Frevola. Frevola 3-2 in his last 5 fights, 4-1 for the Ziam side. This is an interesting matchup and one that could play out in a number of different ways, and it's kind of dependent on what game plan Frevola comes in with. When we look at Matt Frevola, good striker. He's got good forward pressure, plenty of power, and he can put together good boxing combinations. When we look at his wrestling, though, that's what he's going to probably need to do in this matchup to have a lot of success. Not that he can't win on the feet. I just think this is where he is going to have the most success if he chooses to use it. Because he's got good takedowns, he's got good control, and he can scramble well and create openings in those scrambles. When we look at the other side, for Ziam, he's going to be the cleaner, more technical striker. Now, that does not mean that he can't get rocked and dropped or whatever, but he's going to be the cleaner striker. He's got solid combinations. He's going to put his punches and kicks together very well. He's got good movement around the outside, and he stays accurate in his striking. But the jab, the active, nice, active I use loosely because his volume can be not so good. But the jab is nice. He'll stick that at range and keep moving, moving laterally to whatever side he needs to go to and maintain that distance. Now, that's what he's going to use as his takedown defense a lot because his actual, once somebody gets to him with the takedown defense, it's not very good. He's got decent grappling overall, but a lot of it's because he's so long that he can wrap guys up, and he's got them choking arms. You know what I mean? Those short, skinny little arms, slips right under the neck. You know how it works. But the long limbs are what he's going to use to wrap guys up on the ground and just kind of control until the ref can stand him up, or you just stay safe down there. But the defense of the takedowns is a problem for him, and I think that's something that Frevola can capitalize on. Frevola also could try to strike with him the whole time and end up just getting outpointed to a decision, and while he's trying to knock his head off, just not ever get in there and land the big enough shot to put down a guy like Ziam, and then he loses the decision. If you chase the knockout, sometimes you lose a decision. It's just kind of how it goes. For me, ultimately, though, I'm gonna take Frevola and kind of just hope he goes to the wrestling because I think that's a path for him here, and I think he can even finish Ziam on the ground if he can get on top and start landing some shots. So I'm gonna take Frevola. But Frevola is the type of guy that you back as a big underdog, not in a close fight as far as like with your money. So for me, I'm going to take Frevola, and I'm probably just going to watch this one as a fan and hope for the best. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm missing something here. This is one that I kind of waited to the last minute to make an actual prediction for. Let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next fight. Next at featherweight, Morgan Charriere takes on Gabriel Miranda. Both of these guys are 4-1 in their last 5 fights, which makes this fight kind of stand out. 17-6. 19-10, like similar records. It's a good fight on paper, right? Now for Gabriel Miranda, he is a jiu-jitsu practitioner at its core. That is what he does. He has very slick jiu-jitsu, good trips to get the fight to the mat, but he's going to attack submissions relentlessly. His arsenal of submissions is fully stacked. Like this guy is going for the submission. In fact, almost all of his wins, it's like 15 or 16 or something like that, of his wins, they're submissions. And he's willing to work from his back at times, which is a problem. But also, when you're pretty much submission dependent for a win, like yes, I guess it's what you do. Striking, it's fine. He comes forward, he throws straight punches to get in close, and then he's got enough power to kind of make you at least respect the shots, so he can get in and work for that takedown and work for the submission. He's a fast starter, but his cardio isn't the best, and if he blows that gas tank up early, he hits the nitrous button and just goes 100%. Well, he's out, and then from there he can be beat. And a lot of times that's what happens in most of his losses because he blew his gas tank early. Now, on the other side for Charriere, got more cardio there. That's not a problem for him. He's got solid striking, good forward pressure. The power's there. The counter striking is very good, and his boxing combinations in the pocket are something that make him very dangerous and tight. Now he wants to make sure he maintains his range a little bit here, because if Miranda gets this to the mat early on, that could be a problem for Charriere. Not that he's bad in the grappling. Miranda, that is what he does. But for Charriere, he's good on the feet. But he's very good on the feet. Good, durable. The volume can be hit or miss, and I think a lot of it's kind of pacing himself through the fight. But when he does turn on the volume, it's good sometimes, but others not as much. But when he does turn on the volume, he can really start putting stuff together. In the grappling, he likes to just mix in takedowns as a change of pace, especially in a matchup where the striking has been competitive. He'll mix in a takedown and just kind of secure a win. And he does a good job with that. I don't recommend that in this matchup, but he does have that in his back pocket when need be. Ultimately, in this one, I have to side with Charriere. The line is stupid right now, and I'm very tempted to bet Gabriel Miranda just simply because I know that this guy can get the sub early. I was big on him in his last fight against Shane Jung because, by golly, Gabriel Miranda against Shane Jung was a it was a spot that you kind of had to take with Miranda being a decent underdog and having such a big upside in the first. This is a step up in competition for him, which has ultimately kept me off of the line for Miranda. But if this keeps growing, guys, if Charriere gets to like minus 900, how do you not just throw a little something on Miranda? I don't know. Either way, we're taking Charriere. I think he can survive the early onslaught. I think he can use his striking to win this matchup. He just needs to avoid that early takedown. But let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. We're in the welterweight division where Kevin Jousset takes on Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle was 3-1 in a no contest in his last 5. Should be 4-1, but, Angelusa got out easy. 5-0 in the last 5 for Jousset. This is a bit of a step up in competition for Jousset. We're going to see if he can maintain that winning streak or if Battle is going to be that step up that's just a bit too much. When we break down this fight, this is probably one of the fights on the card that I'm most excited about. Now, Bryan Battle, solid striker. He's got very good volume. In fact, probably some of the better volume in the division without just having everybody's numbers in front of me. I would say his volume's some of the best. Good combinations. He puts his punches and kicks together extremely well. That's what you like to see with guys that are putting combinations out there when they can mix their martial arts. Good head kick as well. We've seen him get knockouts with it, but also just the way that he snaps it up so quickly. He can do it off of either leg. That head kick is there. Striking defense has been suspect in the past, but the dude's durable. Dude has a head like cement. Grappling. He's very good there as well. He's got a good choke arsenal, and he's very quick to attack the chokes. And he can do that in the scrambles, which he's very good at creating. Or he can even do that off of failed takedown entry or all sorts of other options for you. He's very quick on the chokes, and that is what makes him dangerous, as well as the scrambling ability. Cardio. Bryan Battle's going to be able to keep that pace up the entire fight. He does not seem to slow down, even when he's putting out output numbers that are much higher than the divisional average. When we look at Jousset looked pretty good thus far, and he's got good striking. I do like his straight punches, and they land extremely quick due to his extended stance. His hands are out here, and then boom, boom, just like that. Those little punches, they land really quick. And although they don't have as much power as one that's coming from clear back here by your chin, the thing that it does help is when you don't see a punch coming, even if it doesn't land as hard, like, as much force or impact, it feels really hard because you didn't see it coming. So those little quick punches from here, they work really well at setting up the bigger shots that are going to come later. I do like that from him. I think those quick shots are something that he's going to want to use here in this matchup. He's got good knees up the middle. A lot of times it's use that knee to kind of, after he's coming forward and then just drive the knee in there. Does a good job with that. Solid leg kick as well, but he does throw him naked, and that is a problem for him because if he throws that naked leg kick and just gets countered, I could see that being the end of his night. His striking defense, not the best, but so far it really hasn't cost him. I mean, the dude's 10-2. He's tough as they get. One of those losses, I believe, is a doctor stoppage, so can't really hold that against him. Doctors do what doctors do. They want to try and make sure you're not going to die in there. He wasn't ready to quit. So there's that. Good grappling as well. Good takedown defense. His cage push, if he wants to just hold you up against the cage and win the fight that way, he certainly can. He's got good control there, but he can also use that judo background he has to land some throws. We haven't seen it so much in the UFC, really. He hasn't really gone to the judo as his thing, but he can, and he's done it in the regional scene. He's done that when he needed to. Ultimately, this is a fun fight. It's going to be all action from start to finish. But guys, I think we're about to see a masterclass put on by Bryan Battle. I think he's going to go out there and show the levels that he's been leveling up here, and I think this is going to be probably one of his better performances yet. I'm taking Bryan Battle. I think he gets this done, and I'm very confident in Bryan Battle this week to do that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And like I said, if you've enjoyed this, if you're enjoying this, you're getting something out of this, hit that like button for me. I do appreciate it a ton. I'll see you guys in the next fight. Get the featherweights next. William Gomis takes on Joanderson Brito. Two things I want to point out. One, both guys 5-0 in their last 5 fights. We have a pretty good matchup here, but the other thing is the height difference. 5'8" for Brito, 6 foot for Gomis. Now, Gomis at 145 pounds, being 6 foot tall, it's pretty wild. So that's interesting. But let's break this fight down from the nuts and bolts perspective rather than the measurables. Now, when we look at Joanderson Brito, good striker, comes forward very rarely relentlessly. He's just going to come at you. Starts extremely fast, tons of power. You strike extremely well while moving forward, and those leg kicks, as we've seen recently, are just devastating. So striking, like that. Grappling, like that too. Good cage push. He works his trips and his takedowns from here. When he gets the fight to the mat, his goal is to take your back. And once he does, that rear naked choke is what he's going for. Yes, he can lay on the ground and pound. Yes, he can, do some other stuff. Typically back taking, rear naked choke. That's what he's going for on the mat. Does he have other options? Yep, but that's what he's looking for. On the other side, we have William Gomis, who typically is more of a striker. Now, he's got the opposite style from Brito. He wants to maintain range, control the range, counter strike, work on his striking defense. The volume's not typically there, but he's very defensively sound. Excellent body kick. That is very good. But he likes to maintain range, stay safe, does not want to exchange in a car crash. Brito wants a car crash. In the grappling, Gomis pretty good there. He's got good scrambles, good ground and pound, but he's not typically going to initiate the grappling in matchups where he's, where he doesn't need to, right? His striking is what he wants to do most of the time, but if he finds that the striking can be dangerous, he might mix in the takedowns and do what he needs to do from there. But yeah, typically he's going to want to stay at range, strike, and land the body kick he's got, counter strike, do what he needs to do. Yeah, I got to go Brito here. I think Brito's an absolute killer. I mean, this guy is a savage. Dude's got to win over Diego Lopez, the guy that everybody's saying should get a title shot soon. Brito beat that dude. The thing what Brito did to poor Chepe Mariscal on the regional scene, I think it was like, what was that? 2017, maybe? It was a while back, right? Brito nearly killed this man in the first round, just knocked him dead. Dude doesn't get it. I think 2017 is the wrong year. It can't be that. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that far back. But either way, Brito murdered this man. I feel like just me saying that actually just ruined the advertising revenue on this video, so that sucks. But Joanderson Brito getting the win. At least I think so. I think he's going to be too much forward pressure for Gomis, and I think he's just going to be able to put it on him. And I think even when Gomis is able to maintain the range, I think the fact that he's going to have to keep backpedaling, and a guy like Brito is not going to give him the space to work. So we're going Brito. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Here we are at the co-main event of the evening, and if you haven't done it already, I do appreciate any likes that you guys would be willing to put on this video. So if you haven't done that, go and scroll on below this video, hit the like button for me. It's a little thumbs up icon. I do appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. It doesn't cost you anything, and if you'd started doing that when I started talking here, you would have already had it done. So let's break down the co-main event. I keep forgetting this isn't the main event because to me this fight has so big of stakes around it that I think this has more title implications than I think the actual main event of the card does, because I think both of these guys are making a claim as to why they should be getting a title shot soon. I understand there's a lot of contenders in the middleweight division, but both of these guys have looked pretty good lately, and although there's a lot of contenders there, who's next after? Well, presumably Strickland. Presumably Strickland's next. But who's after Strickland is kind of wide open. We got Caio Borralho, the winner of this matchup. There's so many contenders at middleweight that are trying to stake their claim. So this one it holds a big weight, right? So for Brendan Allen, 5-0 in the last 5, 3-1 in no contest for Imavov. The no contest after he just decided to headbutt Chris Curtis. So there is that. These guys are both very, very skilled in their area, and I think this is going to make for a compelling matchup. I do wish this was a 5-rounder, so I hate 5-rounders that aren't title fights, honestly. But if we're going to just do that willy-nilly and randomly, I think this is one that could have been. I wish only title fights were 5-rounders, including main events. I don't think they should be unless it's a title fight. However, if we're setting the precedent that we're going to make, fights with big title implications 5 rounds, this one should have been 5 rounds. It sounds like Imavov turned that down, rightfully so. 5 rounds definitely helps Brendan Allen. But if it's going to be going into the title fight, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing this 5 rounds. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's break down Brendan Allen. Dude's a good striker. He wasn't always. He's gotten better. People forget this. He's gotten better. He's not as good backing up. Backing up, he can struggle a bit with the striking. Moving forward, the guy's good. He's got combinations now. His body kick is probably his best weapon there. He's got good volume. And another thing people forget is that if you've got a good grappling threat, which Brendan Allen definitely does, that opens up the striking. Good grappling will open up your striking better than good striking will open up your grappling, if that makes sense. So the grappling that Brendan Allen has opens up his striking pretty good because the threat of the takedown is there. And Brendan Allen's got decent takedowns. People always say, oh, he doesn't have very good takedowns. He does now. They're better than they used to be. People forget this guy is improving. He's got solid grappling overall. His scrambles are great. This dude's back takes are incredible, and he has that rear naked choke that he can put anybody out with. He's one of the better submission artists at 150 or 185 pounds, sorry. And people forget it probably because he's just like some white dude from America, right? Because typically when you think of submission artists, you think of guys from Brazil. You don't think of some dude from America. Like the Brazilians got Brazilian jiu-jitsu, this, that, and the other. No, Brendan Allen's got slick jiu-jitsu. He's choking out guys like Andre Muniz. He's choking out guys like Paul Craig. Like, dude has some of the best jiu-jitsu in the middleweight division. It's impressive. His cardio is fantastic. The dude, people see him get tired, but dude just grits through it. So that shows me that his cardio is good. Even if he's tired. That 5-round battle with Chris Curtis, both guys just going after it in the 5th round. Allen, that was a high output fight, and Allen was still there in the 5th. So let's put it that way. For Nasruddin Imavov is good, right? Definitely the striking is his best weapon, though. People always point out that, he's born in Dagestan, whatever, so, wrestling. Yeah, but, he moved away when he was pretty young, and so he's basically French. I don't think he's more French than he is Russian. And, not ethnicity-wise, I guess, but as far as, culturally, I would imagine he's more French because that's where he's lived his whole life, or most of his life. So, for Imavov, he's a striker, not necessarily a wrestler. He's got solid striking. His footwork is incredible. He darts in and out quickly, but he will keep the hands down. But a lot of that, it's that style that he has. That footwork, light on the toes, dart in and out, land your shots, do what he can. That was a little gingerly, wearing socks on a wood floor. You got to bear with me, guys. He's very accurate, and he can counter-strike extremely well. He oftentimes will have, like I said, hands low, and he'll land an accurate shot because you don't see it coming from down by here while he's looking at you in the face. He's got, hands ready to defend the takedown, really. He can put together combinations off of a counter-strike even. He gets out of the way and then, boom, hits that pole counter, and then, can go into a combo from there if he needs to. But the hands low can be a problem as well because it can lead to you getting cracked. It just takes a while to go like that. Decent grappling. He does have okay takedowns, and if he gets on top, his grounding count's pretty good. But he's weak off his back. That is 100%. He is weak off his back. And if the takedowns come from Allen, he's going to struggle here. If Allen can't get the takedowns, I do think that the striking of Imavov is going to be better. I will say Imavov is a bit of a dirty fighter. We've seen it. We've seen him do what he needs to do to get it done. Whether that be a headbutt like it was against Chris Curtis, grab the cage to stop a takedown, whatever he needs to do. Poke eyes, he will do that. Kick in the groin, doesn't matter. We've seen this guy commit a lot of fouls. Let's put it that way. And that can be a good thing, can help him win, but it can also be bad if a point gets deducted, things like that. That's why he gets the plus and the minus, right there. But ultimately, when it comes to this fight, I would feel better about my pick if it was 5 rounds, but I'm still going to take Brendan Allen. Why am I going to take Brendan Allen? Because I think the grappling disadvantage for Imavov is way bigger than the striking disadvantage for Allen. I think if Allen gets a takedown, Imavov is in trouble. And I think if this is on the feet, yeah, Imavov is probably better, but I don't think Allen's like a fish out of water. And for me, that makes me lean towards Brendan Allen. This guy has been on an absolute tear. I think he's getting this one done, and I don't understand why he's such a big underdog. I think he should be the favorite. So Brendan Allen's my pick. I think he's getting the win. He's going to make a big case for himself to be the next in line after Strickland for the title. And maybe we see it, or maybe the UFC just keeps saying, nah, Brendan Allen, you need like 8 more wins. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the main event. Last but not least, it is our main event of the evening. Renato Moicano takes on Benoit Saint-Denis in the lightweight division. Both guys 4-1 in their last 5 fights. Extremely talented fighters. Both guys have only lost to top-level guys. I can say that this matchup is probably closer than the line suggests, but we're going to break that down. So here we go. Benoit Saint-Denis. We're going to start on the grappling. He's a solid grappler with very good takedowns, and the timing on his entries are what make those takedowns so good. That's what helps him secure these takedowns. His timing's there. He chains submission attempts together, and he's extremely opportunistic when it comes to his takedowns as well as his submission attempts. His sweeps from the bottom are very good. The guy can get on top and do what he needs to do from there, even if he's the one taken down. Striking. He's got good striking as well. Sure, sometimes he drops his hands a bit and he can be hit, but he is durable. He's got a lot of power, good volume, and he's coming forward pretty much the entire time. But that best weapon he's got is that savage body kick. My goodness, is that body kick absolutely devastating. It was definitely put on display best in the Bonfim fight, where he just basically body kicked him into another dimension. Just kept on slamming it until that was the end of it. So for Benoit Saint-Denis, the forward pressure and the just overwhelming style is what he's going to want to use in this matchup to get the win. On the other side, for Renato Moicano, slick jiu-jitsu, very good in the jiu-jitsu department. Decent takedowns. His transitions on the mat are very, very good. He's clean. He's, slides between different positions, no problem. His control is there, especially once he gets to your back. And from there, he is a rear naked choke specialist. That is his move. He has no trouble getting that arm underneath the chin and getting the finish on the rear naked choke. In the striking, he's a good striker. He works his kicks to accumulation with the leg kicks, just kind of over and over and over, and just wears on guys' legs. Crisp jab, sneaks the uppercut in once he gets guys to shell up after he's working his combinations on him, starting to hit his shots. Then he'll take this uppercut here as they're shelling and just kind of sneak it up underneath and just boom right there on the chin. Does a great job with that. Moicano doesn't really have enough power to one shot put your lights out, but he can put things together when he needs to. And those accumulation of strikes is what he can do to get the win that way. He doesn't really get any knock. In fact, I think he had his first knockout win against Jalen Turner, but it was a ground and pound TKO. But yeah, so the power is not really there for Moicano, but he is a good striker. He's clean. He's technical. In the grappling, both guys are extremely good. Yeah, this kind of comes down to where do we see the slight edges? I give a slight physicality edge to Saint-Denis. I give a bit of a slight technique edge to Moicano. Both on the feet and in the grappling. I think he's just slightly cleaner in what he does, but the physicality is going to be more from Saint-Denis. It's going to be tough, and it's not like it's a big difference, right? I mean, they're close on paper. This is a good matchup. This is a very good matchup. I'm tempted by the number on Moicano, but I'm going to take Saint-Denis to get the win here. I think what we're going to see is that physicality being a big difference. I think he's going to be able to land early and often on Moicano. And if Moicano weathers that storm, he can be there late. The dude's tough as nails. We've seen him get wobbled and dropped quite a few times. And I think a guy like Saint-Denis with that endless pressure, even the way he put it to Dustin Poirier in their fight in the first round, I think he can do that again here. So I'm going to take Benoit Saint-Denis to beat Renato Moicano. Guys, if you haven't done it already, like the video. Thank you so much for watching. There's probably something popping up on the screen. Watch that next. You'll probably enjoy it. And if you don't, well, I guess we'll find out, right? So you got to watch it to find out if you'll enjoy it. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you later.